Hi, my name's Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist, and this is Pilates, Rehab, Relax. So today I'm going to guide you through a really gentle chair-based Pilates routine. This is a perfect place for starting if you're looking to do some gentle Pilates. I'm not really confident of what it's all about or where to start with things. This is the kindest routine on any of my page, so start here. If you hate it, then you're probably going to hate everything else, but hopefully that won't be the case. Before we go any further, I'd also like to say we've gone past the 100th subscriber and there's a few people out there to say thank you to. I'd like to say thanks to Tony and Jade and Pat, who've all been there for one another, who've all been suggesting things to me as well and keeping me encouraged, producing more content. Thanks to the likes of Alex and Alia and Rachel and Jean, who've all left really encouraging comments about their own personal struggles and how they've been doing well for themselves. And it not only helps you, it helps me to feel inspired to produce more as well. And also a huge thank you to Lena and James, who I was speaking to and said that I was doing all right, but I was looking to try and get past the 100 subscriber mark, and they immediately went home and told all of their friends and family, and we got about 10 extra subscribers in less than 12 hours. So a huge thank you to everyone. Thanks to all of the viewers and thanks to all of you for supporting me, and let's keep up the good work, all of us. So without further ado, let's get ourselves into the chair and get started. So you want to find yourself in a chair where you've got some space around you that's safe to move. I want your feet to be flat on the floor, and what we're looking for is for those knobbly bones under your ankle to be directly under the knee. So we're looking at about a 90-degree angle there. If you find that the chair is too high for you, you might even actually put a block or something or some books underneath your feet to give you some support there. I've got my back away from the back of the chair there, and that's going to give me some freedom of movement. What I would say though is if you get tired at any point during the class, then if you actually bring your back in to get the support of the chair behind you, you find the exercises are a little bit easier. They'll also be less challenging and probably a little bit less beneficial, but you start small and you work at your own level and slowly build on those things. And remember, if at any point you feel tired or sore, you can always stop and come back at another time. So I might well do somewhere between 5 and 10 repetitions with my exercises, and you might find after just doing 2 of them that you've had enough of that one. So in which case, stop, rest on the back of the chair, and then when we start the next exercise, you can join back in again. Does that sound like a good plan? Now let's get started. So first of all, my feet are about hip width apart. We've got the 90-degree angle at the ankles, the knees and the hips there. And we're trying to take ourselves away from having that rounded sort of shoulder posture and poking chin by having that lengthening of the spine and those wide collarbones there. So if all the way through the workout, you imagine that you've got a helium balloon tied to the crown of your head, pulling you up nice and tall, so the top of your head feels like it's brushing against the ceiling. So Pilates has got a strong focus on posture, on flowing movements, and it's also got a strong focus on these muscles that we call our core. And those muscles we try and actively engage when we do the movements in the exercises. And the way we go about that is by drawing in the tummy slightly. So this deep corset of muscle helps to give support to our back. And if we actively try and draw the muscles in, so if you pop your hands roughly where your tummy button is, and then bring them just either side of that. Now, if you imagine that you're going to do up a tight pair of jeans, just drawing that muscle in slightly towards you, so it's not a big sucking in of the entire tummy. I continue to be able to breathe and I continue to be able to talk to you and then relax again. So for some of you, where you start might literally be just practicing engaging that muscle there. So again, I just draw in, hold for a few seconds and relax again. And if you're struggling to think, am I there, am I engaged? If you go to draw it in and hold and relax, you should feel just a tightening up of the muscle underneath your fingers there. The other thing that you can do to try and engage those muscles, if I go to cough, so you'll find that that naturally makes that muscle work anyway. And if you go to laugh, you'll also find that you engage those muscles as well there. So we're just gently looking to engage those muscles, about a 3 out of 5 contraction, and we'll do that as we're doing some of the exercises, and I'll give you a prompting to encourage you at the right time for that. So the other thing we focus on with Pilates is that awareness of pelvic neutral. So our pelvis is this area around at the base of the spine here, and by pelvic neutral, what we mean is having that pelvis in a nice mid position. It actually gently helps to reinforce the natural curve of our spine, so we don't put any undue stress and strain on any one particular part of it. So we can find that in various ways, but probably one of the easiest things, again, if you sit yourself so you're away from the back of the chair, take your hands so the palm facing upwards and pop them underneath your bottom. So roughly where your back pockets would be, you'll find some bones called your sitting bones. So as I go into a slouch position, as I roll back on my pelvis, you'll find that those sitting bones, you rock back on them, they become less prominent. And then if I come back into that mid position, I roll back onto my sitting bones, they become more prominent, I'm more aware of them. And then as I go into that sort of bolt upright position, as I go into sort of a sergeant major position, which is completely the opposite extreme of a slouch, I also find those bones become less prominent. So as I rock back 2 or 3 times in a row, become familiar with those sitting bones, start to feel, where are they? When are they more prominent? And then when do they start to disappear as you roll from one extreme to the other? And then slowly bring yourself back and forwards, less and less, until you find yourself stopped in that mid position. And hopefully what you'll find there is that you've got just a gentle curve in the back, and those muscles either side aren't working too much. So good sitting posture, that pelvic neutral, isn't sort of a military sergeant major position. That's actually an overcorrection of our posture. And it's not in this slouch position. It's in that nice mid position where we're neither one extreme nor the other. So we've thought about posture, we've thought about engaging our core, and we found that pelvic neutral. So we're probably ready to start doing some movements, aren't we? So let's begin by doing a little bit of a warm up for the neck, shall we? So what I'm going to do is look over my shoulder. So if you go to look over towards your left shoulder, sitting up nice and tall as you do that, and try and relax into the movement there. So you might breathe in and then breathe out. And just see if you can go that little bit further as you hold and sustain that position. And back to the middle again. And the same to the other side. So for you, it'll be moving over to look over your right shoulder. Hold for a few seconds. And again, you might even take a breath in. And try and relax into the stretch as you breathe out. And just see if there's any more movement available there. And back to the middle again. So we'll do a couple of those to each side. Again, breathing in and breathing out and looking over your shoulder as far as you can. And it's quite common to find that one side's got more movement available than the other. Again, with any of these movements, you work at your pace, you might have a few pops and creaks or a twinge, and as long as it's not a sharp pain, that's fine. And then back to the middle again, and back over to the opposite side. So again, moving over toward your right, big breath in, and then rotating round. That's great. So maybe we'll involve the upper body with that movement as well. So what we do, if you take your right hand, place it over your left thigh, take a big breath in, And then as you breathe out, go around as far as you can from not only the neck this time, but from the upper body. We hold for a few seconds, and then back to the start position, and the same to the other side again. So again, for you, take your left hand, place it over your right thigh, and what we're going to do, big breath in, and then and back to the start position. One more time through each side. So again, you take your right hand over your left thigh, big breath in, and relaxing into the stretch each time. And again, back over to the other side again. So again, you take your left hand over the right thigh, big breath in. That's good. And relax again. Okay, so we've done a little bit of rotation there. Let's have a little practice of doing some shoulder rolls, shall we? So nice big shoulder rolls. So again, breathing in, shoulders to the ceiling, shoulders to the back of the room, and then shoulders down to the floor as you breathe out. Up in front of you, big breath in as those shoulders go up to the ceiling, to the back of the room, and big breath out as you put those shoulders into your back pockets. And keep on, a couple more there, up to the ceiling, big breath in, to the back of the room, and then big breath out as you bring those shoulder blades down. And again, in front of you, so you might have only really small shoulder rolls, or they might be really big ones. And then relax, just bring those shoulders to a rest and give those arms a little shake there. That's great, that's great. Okay, well, let's do a little bit of movements to the side if that's okay. So we did a little bit of rotation movement, so perhaps if you take your left hand, and now what I want you to try and do for me is slide it down the leg of the chair there, feeling that stretch. And then back up again. And the same to the opposite side again. So this time you take your right hand, sliding it down. I got a good creak there from my back as I went down. And back up again. And the same to the opposite side. So big breath in and then breathe out. And again, hold that position. And the same again, back over to your right. And as you do this, you should feel a big stretch into the opposite side, all the way from the hip, all the way up to the shoulder blade, and back up again. That's great. Okay, well, let's try and do some movements forwards and backwards now, if that's all right. So I want you to imagine, first of all, we did a little bit of that pelvic tilting a moment ago, didn't we, where we went to rock backwards and then go bolt upright. Let's take that movement a bit further. So if you felt uncomfortable, just stick with that gentle pelvic tilt back and forwards. But how about, for the rest of you, that we imagine that we're curling round a really big ball. Now pop your hands around that ball as far as you can. It might be a really big beach ball there. And try and spread those shoulder blades as far apart as you can. And try and bring your chin down to your chest. So you feel a really good stretch there. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And then open those hands out and apart as far as you can. Poke the chest out as far as you can. Squeeze between the shoulder blades as much as you can. And then back round that ball again. So again, curl up into a ball. My chin's coming down towards my chest as much as I can. And I'm stretching around this gigantic beach ball. Try and bring that gap between the shoulder blades. So you're really stretching. And then again, let's open up nice and wide. Poke the chest out. Bring those fingertips out as far as you can. Oh, feel a really good stretch and tense up between the shoulder blades. And then relax and shake those arms off again. That's great. That's great. And what we're going to do now is pop our hands onto the tummy and let's practice engaging that core muscle again. So again, you just draw that muscle in, hold for a few seconds and relax. And if you're comfortable with that, you can just let the hands rest wherever you fancy. But if you're not sure, keep those hands either side of your tummy button. And what I want you to do for me, we're going to draw that muscle in and we're going to start with the teeniest of movements here because we're going to increase the challenge on this by adding a little bit of leg movement. And the way we're going to go about that is I want you to just lift up your heel off of the floor. So with your left heel at home, I just want you to try and bring it up just a fraction off of the floor there and hold for a few seconds as you keep that muscle engaged and then back down again. Yeah? So let's try and do 5 on one side and then we'll do 5 on the other. So here we go. And those who know me, I'm dreadful at keeping count here. So by all means work at your own pace. And when you get to 5, you can just stop and go back to the rest position again. Okay, and over to the other side. So if you did that on your left foot, let's do it on the right foot. So bringing your right heel up as you engage that core muscle and then back down again. 5 in a row, please. So again, draw that tummy in, lift the heel up, bring the heel down, relax the tummy muscles, and again, engage that muscle, heel lift, and down, and one more time. There you go. So that was easy, you say? Well, let's progress to doing the whole foot off of the floor then in that case. So if you found it was sufficiently challenging just doing the heel lift, then stick with that. If you found it was easy, join in with me. So again, what we're going to do, we engage the core muscle, outward breath, lifting our foot up, inward breath, down again. So again, and down. So there's loads of variations possible here. You might only be lifting the foot a millimetre or 2 off of the floor, and that's fine. So I engage the core, I breathe out as I lift up, and then I breathe in and relax as I come back down again and again. And down again. And when you've done 5 on one side, 5 on the other. So again, engage the core, outward breath, lift the leg up. That's great. So again, we're slowly increasing the amount of difficulty there, and the next way we can progress that single leg press is actually going into a straightened leg. So for some of you, it might be sliding the leg out in front of you in that position. Again, if it's particularly easy, you might even bring the leg up nice and straight in front of you. So it's actually almost like a nice flowing line, a bit like you've got a paintbrush between your big toe and your second toe, and you're drawing a nice big vertical line in front of you as you go out and then back in again. So as we go out in front of us, we engage the core muscle, outward breath, and then back to start position. So again, you might want to stick with one of the easier variations if you feel up to it. Let's do 5 on one leg and 5 on the other if that's okay. You don't need to have your hands on the core there, but I'll do that just to give you the prompting as well. So here we go. Engage the tummy muscle, outward breath. And again. And let's do the same on the other side. So if you do the same on your left, again, outward breath, we engage the core, sweep a movement of that leg up in front of us. So again, and at any time, you can make this easier by having your back resting against the chair as you're doing it. One last time. There we go. That's great. So that was the one leg stretch. So we're going to also do another movement of our legs now, and it's the one leg circle. So what we're doing with this movement, we bring our leg up, similar to before, but if you imagine that you have got like a paintbrush or a pen on your knee, and we're going to make a small circle. First in one direction, so you might do 5 of them going in one direction, maybe clockwise or anti-clockwise. Remember which way you're going, because the next time you come up, you're going to do the opposite direction there as you go up and round and down again. Yeah? Sound like a plan? What could go wrong? Hey, what could go wrong? So again, we engage our tummy muscle, lifting that knee up, keeping the core engaged, and making those circles, those really small circles. So about 5 in one direction, so I've gone anti-clockwise. And then back down again. And then again, engage the core, lift up the same leg, and now make the circles in the opposite direction. So whichever direction you went before, 5 in the opposite way. That's great. And let's bring our attention to the other leg now, exactly the same. So again, draw those muscles in, lift that foot up off of the floor, and make some circles there. So 5 in one direction. And back down again. And again, draw that muscle in, engage the core, up we go. And 5 small circles in the other direction. That's good. Back down again. So the hip circles can be made harder by having a slightly straighter leg. I've got quite tight hamstrings, so I don't think I can realistically keep mine very comfortably out in front of me. So you might be here, you might be here still, or you might go out nice and straight in front of you. So we can have a little go if you want, but again, just go gentle. Again, it's a lot easier with all of these things if you've got the back of the chair supporting behind you. So if you're in any discomfort, bring your bottom back in the chair. So I'm not going to do many of these, so if that's all right. So again, engage the tummy muscle, leg up in front of us, making a small circle there. And back down again. And again, engage the tummy muscle, leg up in front of you, and making a circle in the opposite direction. And down again. So you can really feel that on the front of the thigh when you do this. Same on the other side, shall we give it a go? Again, if in doubt, just wait until the next exercise and just sit there and just watch me make a fool of myself. And down again. And the same again. Engage the core, up we go. Circles in the other direction. That's great. And then relax. So we've done quite a lot on our legs, haven't we? Should we do a little bit with our arms now? So what I want you to do for me, keeping in that good position, so we've still got that nice neutral pelvis, we've still got that nice long spine, those wide collarbones, and we said about having a helium balloon tied to the crown of our head before. Well, that's not the only helium balloon I want you to have. I want you to imagine that you're holding a helium balloon in your hand. So if you start off by imagining you've got a helium balloon in your left hand, so we're going to engage the core muscle there, and as we breathe out, I'm going to let that hand float all the way up towards the sky, hold it for a few seconds, and then let that helium balloon go, and let the hand drift down again. Same again. So again, engage the core. Let the hand drift up towards the sky, and then release that balloon, and let the hand come down slowly to the start position. And again, engage the core. Let the hand drift up towards the sky. You might feel a little bit of lengthening in your side there. And then release. And let the hand come down again. We're going to do 5 on each side, so that's 3. Let's do 2 more. So we engage the muscle of the tummy. Breathing out. Let the hand drift up to the sky. And then relax again. And one more time on that side. And then down. So that was 5 on your left. Let's do 5 on the right hand side now. So again, keeping that good posture, engage the tummy, and let your right hand drift up towards the sky. Let that balloon release and come back down again. And the same again. And relax. So you work in your own time, and if you've got a bad shoulder, you might have only done it on one side at home, and that's fine. And again. And again. And when you've done 5 on each side, bring yourself back to the start position. So our final position is an arm opener. It's an exercise where we're going to have our arms out in front of us. Imagine they're like the covers of a book, perhaps. And what I want you to do for me, keeping that good upright posture, is imagine that you're opening the covers of that book up. So with your left arm, I want you to bring that arm out and round as far as you can, and then back in again. And as we do that, what we can do is engage our tummy muscle, engage that core muscle, and do that on an outward breath. So here we go, draw that core in, and as you breathe out, and that really works those muscles of the tummy as we do that. And then back in again. And the same again. So engage the core muscle and in. So you might find your book cover doesn't open very far, and that's fine. You work with what's tolerable for you. I don't want you to be sore necessarily from doing this. But again, engage the core and bring that arm out and round. And then back in again. And we do 5 of these on each side. So again, and back in again, and again. That's great. And let's do 5 on the other arm now. So here we go. I draw the muscle in my tummy, and with your right arm, and round. And as my hand movement goes round, I follow that movement with my nose and eyes, so I'm looking at that thumb all the time. So here we go. I engage the tummy muscle, and my eyes follow the movement of the hand, and then back to start position. So a few more on that side. And back. And again, engage those tummy muscles, outward breath. That's good. Give those arms a shake. So there you go. That was a gentle Pilates class in seated. What did you think of it? If you liked it, click like. If you got any suggestions or want to leave me some encouragement, by all means write a comment. And subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all my latest content. I've got loads of other classes that I've done, some of them in seated, some of them in laying, some of them in standing, and lots of different levels of difficulty to go with it. So thanks for watching everyone, keep safe and look forward to seeing you soon.